Hello, Gloucester Academy. Nice to see you all. Hope you're keeping well and keeping safe during this lockdown. I've got the privilege of trying to share a few stories with you and a few little ideas with you. Hopefully from the psychological perspective, Jim's asked me to put something together just to try and illustrate this a little bit. So I'm really pleased to be here to give you a bit of a heads up on a few things. My name's Alex Sykes. Those of you who don't know me, I played for Gloucester City's first team between about 2006 and 2009. Made 160 odd appearances, scored 60 odd goals, some of which I think are still on YouTube somewhere. I was very privileged to be part of the playoff team that got us into the position the club is currently in now at the stage it is in Conference North. And had some good times obviously with Gloucester City. Also previously played for Forest Green. I think I'm the record appearance holder for them and scored a few goals for them along the way, and previous international with England futsal, but also England under-18s, and that's probably where I'm going to start my first little story for you. I was very privileged in when I was about 17 or 18 years old to be in part of the England under-18 schools football team. I got through 3 or 4 sets of trials to get into the squad. I managed to make my debut at the old Leicester City ground, which was called Filbert Street, and scored a header, believe it or not, against somebody called Sander Westerveld, who, for those parents out there, might remember him playing for Liverpool, possibly. So I was very privileged. I was in a good position at 17 or 18 years old. I was playing for Hereford United in the youth team, and I'd been picked up and scouted by a number of different clubs. I spent a bit of time at Derby County, a week at Man City, before they had all the money. And I eventually signed professional terms for Mansfield Town, who were at the time in the equivalent of League One as it is now. And I was very excited. Obviously, for 17 or 18 years, that's all I'd wanted to be. I'd wanted to be a professional footballer, and this was a massive deal for me. I was obviously not on a lot of money. I moved away from home. I had to live in digs and in accommodation with a landlady who fed us and kept us safe and sound. With about 6 other lads at the time who were also young pros or apprentices at the football club. So it was a tricky time moving away from home and adjusting to the rigours of being a professional footballer. I was under the impression it would be a fantastic lifestyle and I'd have lots of money and lots of things going on, but it was pretty tough. The physicality especially, the training, and getting used to that was really, really hard, even though I thought I was really quite fit at the time. But it was another step up. And halfway through my contract, so a year through, the manager pulled me into the office with his assistant and told me that he thought it would be better for me if we sort of cancelled the contract and went our separate ways, and maybe I went back to my home area to play football, and that he thought I wasn't going to be quite good enough to get in his first team. To which, as you can imagine, I was a bit destroyed. My soul was a bit destroyed. I was a bit upset. But I took the decision that I was going to stay on and sort of prove him wrong, and it was a useful decision. Unfortunately for him, a few months into the next year, the first team results weren't great, and he lost his job. And a new manager came in, and that gave me, certainly personally, a new lease of life. And the new manager had a bit of confidence in me, and I was really, really fortunate in my final year, my second year, to make my Football League debut. I managed to score quite a nice goal on my debut from about 30 yards.
Mansfield did their bit for down at Walsall. Alex Sykes opening the scoring in quite spectacular style after just 3 minutes.
And coincidentally, the manager at the time offered me a new contract, and I turned it down because I then chose to come to university at University of Gloucestershire, and I played my football in Gloucestershire, got picked up by Forest Green, and from then on. So yeah, that's the first one. About sticking at it when you don't think you're quite good enough. That self-resolve and trying to make sure that you can actually keep going even when you think the chips are down, and that's a really good trait to have. So that happened to me early on in my career. And then from a team point of view, the next one I'm going to share with you is a bit more pertinent to Gloucester City. This was a game in our playoff season. We went to Cambridge City midweek, which for those of you who know and do any geography know it's quite a long way away. So it was a Tuesday night trip to Cambridge, and they were very close to us in the playoff race at the time. We went there. Unfortunately, we lost the game. From a personal note, I was really pleased to score a really good goal, but we lost 2-1. one of the things that resonated and stuck with us was the fact that they were really celebrating in their change room at that point, because they thought that was a big turning point for them. And they were celebrating, bang on the walls, really cock-a-hoop, as you can imagine, because they'd just beaten us. I think they'd gone above us in the table. There was still quite a long way of the season left. But I do remember our manager coming in the door, not happy that we'd lost the game and we hadn't played well, but also sharing the details with us that we needed to use that as part of our motivation if and when we came up against them again later in the season. And lo and behold, our first leg of the playoffs was against Cambridge City at home. And that was all the motivation we needed. As a group, we knew that we'd underperformed on that night at Cambridge. They came to us, we turned them over, and they managed to get into the playoff final and win that. So from that point of view, it's using those things as a motivational tool when sometimes the chips are down and you're not feeling great about things, trying to turn them into a positive. And certainly that experience in that game was a really good example of how you use that to help yourself out, even though you've lost the game and not played well and not performed very well, to your benefit. And there are plenty of those opportunities in football, and they happen sometimes even just through a training session, not just necessarily in a game that stands out, but also in training, or small things go wrong. It's about how you can bounce back, and certainly all your coaches, as players, all your coaches, parents, etc., will be looking for what your resilience is like and how you can react to those situations. And that's a key life skill, not just a football skill, but it's a key life skill that you can learn. It's trying to use that to motivate you to do better the next time you do something. And if you like, learning from our mistakes. And as a team, that's what we did at Cambridge that night. We knew we'd underperformed, and we certainly knew we weren't going to do that again when we got into that playoff semi-final against them in the next game. So again, just using it for your benefit. I hope those couple of stories have helped. I hope they've helped get you through a little bit of the lockdown, if nothing else, and hopefully I'll be able to share a few more with you soon. Take care. See you soon.